challenges you with Afterburner, a game so exciting you can imagine you're in for the fight of your life.
Game and Master System sold separately.
Ready? Afterburner gives you the real dogfight excitement of the arcade version.
Yeah.
Like barrel rolls, nosedives, supersonic speed, and radar lock-ons.
Your turn to burn. Let's take it home.
Afterburner, only on the Sega system. Sega, the challenge will always be there.
The challenge will always be there.
Well, the Sega system, not the Master System.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Play Retro, your favorite retro gaming podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Scott Johnson. And when I pull the yoke down, it means I want to fly up. Wait, I guess it makes me want to go down. I think this game might determine my preference for XY settings in video games for 30 years to come. Oh well, at least I get to be Top Gun and Top Gun the crap out of these losers.
Way to go, Maverick. And I'm your other host, Brian Dunaway. And I have the need for an arcade game where I pilot a F-14 Tomcat and kick in the afterburner like some kind of Maverick trying to outrun some nondescript sky enemies in an on-rails dogfight that is trying to shake all the tokens from my pockets during every barrel roll. Good luck.
Yeah, baby.
Ching, ching, ching.
I think you described it pretty well. That's Afterburner. Today's subject, Afterburner. All right. A quick note. If you're not a patron of the show, you missed out on a great discussion about some CES revelations this week in terms of some SteamOS devices, a gigantic 11-inch handheld, and also Atari getting into the retro handheld business as of a couple of days ago.
My arcade is bringing some Atari love. I'm excited.
Yeah, we talked about all that stuff a bunch before. So join up and get that kind of news and discussion as part of your
where do you go to
intake.
do that? You just
fart.
Like $1 or something?
You just fart. You just
fart
what I'm
up.
trying to say. You just head over to patreon.com/playretro. That's really that easy. It's as simple as that. And why I made a big deal out of it, I don't know. But it's frogpants.com/playretro. So get in there, get it done, and be a part of it.
I'm a supporter.
You know what I got to tell you about? A couple things. First of all, I'm back to playing Fire Emblem Sacred Stones. I'm just playing it again because I love that game. I come back to that game probably twice a year, and I beat it last year. I'm ready to beat it again. I love the Fire Emblem games, but those GBA games, and in particular Sacred Stones, best turn-based bullshit ever. I love it so much. Okay, we have somebody in our community. His name is Cash. And Cash is a listener of this show. He listens to Core, a couple others. Big Frog Pants guy. He sent me the most amazing thing I've ever gotten in my life. A custom built, it's heavy as hell, so I'm being careful. Custom built mechanical keyboard. I have currently put my keys on there from a friend of mine gave me these keys so I can swap them anytime I want. So I'm kind of experimenting around a little bit, but it's all backlit and has all the stuff. This thing weighs a ton, and it uses that VIA technology thing where you can update all your settings in the cloud. Reassign keys to do whatever you want.
You say cash, you say.
Yeah, right. It's cash like caching your memory kind of name. That's how you spell it.
Oh, cash. Okay. Oh, I got you. Cache.
He works
you say.
He works at an awesome company that does a bunch of cool stuff, custom keyboards and other work, and he just absolutely killed it with this thing. I'm in love with it. It weighs a ton. Here's the only problem with it, and for me it isn't a problem, but for you, the home listener, it is. Check this out if I'm typing during the show.
Well, that's perfect. What are you talking about? There's nothing wrong with that.
It's loud, but it's so satisfying, dude. Listen to this. I mean, this is like some kind of ASMR.
All right. Oh, Jesus.
It's so meaty, dude.
I love that.
It's
that is
so meaty.
So delicious.
Yeah, so I've completely...
I didn't know this cache works for are you allowed to say the company name?
Yeah, I should give it proper... Let me give it a proper...
we can wait until later, but yeah, we'll just wait until cache hooks me up so I can pay.
I don't know if he's going to hook you up or not. Okay.
He just needs to direct me. I'm not worried about freebies. I'm worried about directing me.
It's literally cashkeyboards. Cashkeyboards. I'm trying to find the website. There it is. Cashkeyboards.com. Cash is spelled like CACHE. Keyboards.com. Yeah. Go check it out. He's awesome. Been working with him on just like customizing it and him getting me kind of used to this. Apparently, this is like old hat for anyone who does custom mechanical keyboard work. but it was all new to me, and I was like, "What is this? How does this work?" He helped walk me through some stuff. Yesterday I obsessed on this and played with it all afternoon, and now I'm just like, Brian,
I know. I am like I haven't crossed over the threshold of building my own yet. I've read a lot. I've bought mechanical keyboards that are, basically already pre-assembled.
Yeah.
That may have themes like the Commodore 64, the NES. I've got was this a arcade keyboard or something like that. I have some experience with these mechanical keyboards, but I haven't stepped over the line yet of developing my own. I'm interested.
Yeah.
I'm interested in putting together one.
I think you should check it out, or at least dig in, because they're thick. I don't even know how to describe these. Like it's old school and new school at the same time. It's got this bit. Oh, see if I can show you this. Can I get my camera to work here? Might be able to. Hold on.
I love how the keys on yours are like they're outlined. I love that.
See this knob?
Yeah, you're a knob, all right. I see it right. Oh, you mean on the keyboard? I thought you meant you.
Little metal knob there. That thing's awesome. Yeah. The key, these keys themselves are custom keys from a different source, but I actually already ordered additional keys. They're coming in the mail. He 3D printed me some keys. They're amazing. I have this one that it's only off for now because I switched to this black theme, but I'm going to put them back. My escape key is normally a little 3D printed frog who sits like way up on top of it.
Aww.
That he made. I mean, it is freaking rad. Look how beefy it is.
I love how beefy it is. So for the listeners, we're looking at a close-up of Scott's keyboard right now. He's got like these keys that have no face on the top, but on the front half of the keyboard or the keys are the letters. So imagine like an old 8-bit computer, like a Commodore 64, or old computers that would have the information printed on the front, like as an alternative to the press. So
even page up and page down looks like it's all handwritten. It's like chalk work almost, like almost like a comic book was the idea here.
It is kind of a comic. I like it because it looks like that. If you've seen people do any cosplay, it's like they do these hard outlines around organic objects to make it like it was actually drawn in real life. And that's kind of how this keyboard.
And this thing switches seamlessly between my PC with a keystroke. I switch between PC mode and Mac mode. In theory, I could have a third one because you can have this Bluetoothed up to 4 devices or something at the same time. So I could use Linux or something. But right now, you see I got the keycaps for the command key. There's my control key. If I switch it to PC, I can switch those around if I want to.
Yes.
I'm in love with it. The only problem with it isn't even a problem, and that is that it's
loud.
Yeah, you guys are all going to hear it.
Yeah. You can get different switches though. I mean, if you want something a little quieter, you wouldn't get the same chonkiness, but you can.
It's so chonky. It's so good.
To make different noises.
You know what I could do? I could take my big old foam sound dampeners and I could just wrap it in front of it. Make a little shelf and then this is because listen to this, you guys. Listen to this. I'm in a booth now. Do you hear me now? Isn't that great?
Yeah, this is my Royal Kludge.
Yeah.
And it's not too loud. It's mechanical.
Yeah, I could also put a better gate on my mixer for my mic, and then I just not pick up that sound or whatever. Because I'm so into it now that I can't change. I cannot. I sat here and typed up a letter to a friend of mine. It's the most. It is the most zen mode I've been in with a keyboard in my life, and that doesn't even sound right. What is a key? So what if it's a keyboard? This thing's got. There's no plastic at play here. This is solid outer. This is metal. I don't know what metal. It's heavy, aluminum, I guess, but it's heavy, thick.
I'll tell you this:
solid state as shit. Look at this. If I dropped this on my foot, I'd have to go to the hospital. That's how heavy it is.
You would. I've never. You may not know about Brian, but Brian has never been a fan of the mouse. I have always made passionate love to my keyboard, and I accept that I have to use a mouse for some things.
All right, I understand that. I'm a mouse guy. I mean, I'm fine with mice, but I understand where you're coming from there. And command line brain is a real thing, and we all, some of us are more into it than others. But I'm with you. Keystroke like shortcuts, I'm all about them.
Oh God!
So I almost spend.
It's like a dance.
Yeah, I spend maybe half of what people use their mice for. I'm using shortcuts. And then the rest of it I'll use a mouse for, but it just really depends. Anyway, I love this thing. It's also kind of retro. He sent me some other sets of these keys. Look at this. I'll try not to spill this because it'd be a big mess if I did. But he sent me a whole set of keys that are super easy to replace, and they're all super retro. Like this is like Packard Bell era beige.
And that's exactly what I want. I want that Packard Bell era beige.
Yep, it's just like it.
Some old IBM shit.
Yep, it's big time like that. And then there's some colorful stuff in there. He's got a bunch that he sent me that are basically like film editing keys. And so what you would do, your keyboard can support different layers basically. So you can say, all right, layer 1 is just normal layout for PC, layer 2 is for my Mac, and layer 3, I can assign these keys to be anything I want. And I could make it so that Q through R, instead of being Q through R, are stop, pause, play, cut, whatever. So if I'm using like a video editor, I can shortcut all those keys to do video editor shit and macro everything if I want to. I mean, this is a great. This is a world I wasn't aware existed in terms of customization. It's crazy how deep that well goes. It's nuts.
All right, so I was going to wait a week or two because I haven't had a chance to really explore it very much. But I did get something at Christmas time that I specifically ordered.
What the hell is this?
Yeah, right. Look at this thing. So this is a little keyboard, and you can program it. But essentially, it has all of the functions that you would have with a controller, but in a keyboard format. You got your move buttons over here. You got your A, B, C, D, and all that stuff over there. You got a select and start button down here, and this is all programmable, and you can do all kinds of cool shit. You got start up here, home. So this is basically a gamer's keyboard, a retro gamer's keyboard in small, right?
Love it.
It's crude. Yeah, and so I haven't had a chance to really get into it and look at everything, but it is nice.
It is a funny thing. There are parts of, I won't even call it retro. I mean, I think a mechanical keyboard is kind of retro. The thing you're using right now is very customizable, and there's aspects of all of this that leans into why we like retro at all, even though we're talking about kind of modern devices. But it's all in service of like, bring me back a little, take me back.
Bring me back.
Bring me back in time. Oh, here's the only problem. This is a me problem. I seem to have misplaced or it just wasn't in there when I got it. I'm trying to determine which case that is. But
the key puller?
No, I have that. It's all good. But my my O key and my R key are missing. So currently I have an Alt for R and a period, an extra period key for like a 10 key for O. And it's fine because I know how to type without looking, so it's not like an issue. But I'm annoyed that I don't know where those two keys are. So I'm gonna have to. You don't need
those. Your keys don't even have faces on them.
Yeah, right. They got this other.
Well, care.
It's done like stadium seating, so you can see the letters and symbols. They're just forward to you, not on top for you. Side. Yeah. Anyway.
If anyone, find your home keys and go to town, baby.
If you guys are listening at home on audio only, I apologize for how non-visual our descriptions were, but go check out the YouTube video and you can see what we're talking about. Brian, what did you get up to in the world of retro during the week?
Absolutely. So this week, finally, during Christmas or before Christmas, I had pre-ordered something. It is called this is directly from Atari. This is the CX40 Plus. So you may remember the CX40. This is what they called their standard Atari joystick back in the day. It's a joystick with a stick on it and a button. Yep. That's all you get back in the day, the
Old
CX40.
School. Yeah.
And that's right. And this is cool because it's a replica. And my God, it feels so good as far as
replica, meaning this is Sony saying here's an accurate representation of how we used to make these or what?
Right. Yeah. So accurate is in it feels, looks, and performs in a very similar way to Atari's original CX40, and Atari has nailed it. But you also get two dongles with this thing. You get one that you can plug into the old style, the little old serial type of pins, you can plug right in, or you can plug it into any type of USB. And so if you're doing emulation on there, and like right here, so you can see this is supposed to be good for the 2600, 2600 plus, the 7800 plus, and so on. But it's got a DB9 plug, like we said, the little 9-pin plug, or the USB.
It says "Look Ma, no wires." Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a faithful reproduction of the original, but you can. So am I bad as Sarah? I mean, it feels good because my original ones have gotten stiff over time and they just don't feel really good. And I haven't really worked towards making them function like they should. And I had like a stopgap in between. I had ordered this off Atari, a good while back. And it's this modern version.
Oh,
which is
right.
really cool.
That is cool. I like the lights. I didn't know it did that.
Yes. It's really cool to look at. And, it kind of gives you the same idea, but it's very loosey-goosey. It doesn't give you that original feel that you would have had. So, yeah, this one lights up.
LEDs and stuff. I like I wish it was more, is it matte finish or shiny? It looks like it's a little fingerprinty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it gets a little bit fingerprinty on here.
Yeah.
And it's shiny in the lit parts. But,
Still
it does
cool.
its job.
Yeah.
It's also wireless, or you can plug it in through USB.
That one come through the VCS or whatever that's called.
That one, correct. So the Atari VCS, the one they had released not that long ago, or a couple of years back, this was part of the bundle if you ordered the bundle.
Got it. Okay, that's awesome.
Oh, I got more too. I've got a version. Maybe I should have got that out too. They have a version of the CX40 that Commodore made that they got sued for.
Oh, no way!
At one point in time. Yeah,
I want to see that.
But yeah, I'm into that. I mean, it's stupid. I mean, it's one of the worst controllers ever invented, but it's also it does the job, right?
Yeah,
going different directions, 4 directions, possibly 8.
So
got a fire button.
So wait, Commodore is the one that tried to make it and got in trouble?
Yeah. Commodore just said, you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna flat out steal this. I'm trying to see if it's within reaching distance. Where is it? I do not see it. But yeah, Commodore just made one. I think they even called it something stupid that was kind of like the Commodore 40 or something.
Oh, well, part of the reason they probably did it is this thing. Yeah, there it is. This thing worked for the Commodore back then, and then they decided to make their own, right? I used the same.
And all I did was they changed the color of it. It is sexy though. Look at let's see.
Oh, I found it. Here it is.
Yeah.
It's this thing.
Yeah. It's a sexy white with red and stuff. I mean, it looks good. Oh, so that's the one they
Is this the one they made it so they didn't get in trouble anymore? That's what this is?
So so it's a little bit different. Here, I'm going to put in the Discord server the original one. I do not have this one. They're pretty expensive. Yeah. But this is the CX40 style white and black joystick. And if you can imagine an Atari joystick that just has white on the top instead of your
that is 100% a ripoff, dude.
Yeah.
What were they thinking? Jeez.
Yeah. All the way down to the board, it is exactly the same.
That's funny to me.
It is ridiculous.
I mean, obviously they've got the some trim on here that's different, but for the most part, I would almost think somebody modified an Atari stick to look more like a Commodore device.
Yeah,
that's funny.
But I mean, we all just grabbed our Atari, our leftover. By the time you had a Commodore 64 or something like that, when you were playing video games, you just went and grabbed, you just went and grabbed one off of your Atari and went in there and played it. No one purchased these things hardly. So,
no. What kind of nightmare world are you describing where people replace things? Come on now. Doesn't happen. Well, all right then. We've taken a deep dive into what we got up to this week, but now it's time for us to take to the air, really, and fly. Okay? We're going to fly. We're going to turn on the engines. We're going to play Highway to the Danger Zone while we do it and see if we can help Tom. See if we can help Val Kilmer chomp his teeth at Tom Cruise. All right?
That's right.
You know the scene. You know the stuff. Here it is.
Shall we play a game?
Indeed. Let's play the game Afterburner. This is a game that came out on the arcade first anyway, in 1987. Okay. And once again, this is that sad story. I told it last week at the end of the show. If you missed it, I'll tell you just briefly. This was almost, I won't say it, this was almost my dad's machine. But my dad, prior to Sega building this thing, had drawn in a notebook, which I still can't find. I got to try to find it. I would love to scan these and have it forever. But he drew a prototype of what will become the arcade cabinet for Afterburner. And I've just now pulled it up. You see this thing where you sit inside of it. It's part of our album art today, but you sit inside of that thing. It's got a little cockpit. It's all self-enclosed. At the time, that was very unusual. And he did this in written form anyway, with a plan to build it with our partners when he was running arcades and building machines. We had this, we were manufacturing cabinets at this point and installing boards and everything.
Right.
And he had this whole idea. It was more of a space game idea, but that part didn't matter. That was going to be Data East making the game, and then he was going to build the cabinetry and work on the business model in the States and all that. And then the game business crashed hard. This was 1985. And all of those plans completely gone, along with half my dad's assets, the house, the motorhome, the business, all of it.
Yeah. But he got to keep his children.
It was an ugly time. Yeah, he got to keep us, and a lot of old cabinets made it. I still have a couple of them here at the house. But this idea fell by the wayside, and nobody had done this. Jump ahead 2 years, Sega launches a game called Afterburner. It is exactly what my dad had planned. And, minus like what kind of game it was. This is an airplane and Top Gun and all that. His was more of an outer space thing, but it got made. So it was with a heavy heart. I went to the arcade that year and went, oh, there it is. That could have been his, but then I realized it's fine. This was all going to go this way anyway, and he was ahead of his time a little bit.
It shows you where your dad had his finger on the pulse of what was going on, because that's where we were headed, right?
Yep.
And so he was a little ahead of the curve for sure, seeing that's where it was gonna go. So,
yeah, we used to think we used to think that was just rad because nobody else's dad was doing cool shit like this in our minds.
The only other cool dad, I'm not sure, was Yu Suzuki. Was he a dad at this point?
Oh, you know what? Great question. Was he? He might have been.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so Yu Suzuki and the AM2 team were in their secret headquarters in Japan, developing cool ass shit by going and doing research by going out and racing real good, race cars, and going and looking at planes and get to do all the fun stuff, and then bringing just a sliver of that to the arcade in whatever form it can be. In this case, maybe a sit down cockpit like your dad was heading towards, or maybe even a stand up with the big giant stick that allowed to hit the accelerator, do a little afterburning. He was probably if he wasn't a dad, he would have been a cool one if he was.
Well, he became the father of Afterburner, that's for sure. And here's a little audio to remind you what it felt like to sit in that thing and hear it the first time.
Get ready.
Get ready. Get ready. Good luck.
The game successfully kind of captured this Top Gun vibe, which had been out for a year. When did Top Gun come out? Maybe the same year?
Like the previous year, because the AM2 team was already developing a game for dogfighting, but it was going to be more Japanese-based properties that they were looking at. And then once Top Gun came out and really just rocked the world, they said, this is it. If you want a dogfight and you want it in 1987, you better pay some love to Top Gun, and that's what they did.
Yep, they didn't license it directly, but they made a thing that was very reminiscent of that, and got people really fired up. I remember, gosh, I was in high school when this came out, and I remember going to the arcade and going, like we were still like reeling, and it was back in the day when you didn't get a VHS copy of your favorite movie for a couple of years, sometimes a year. Yeah. And Top Gun wasn't even out.
You had $80 because that's how much VHSs cost.
Well, even then when it was available, you're going to pay $50 to $80, and just different time. Like we were just talking this morning on FilmSack how Wicked I think is rentable already, if not soon.
You might even be able to watch it last week on the Apple Plus open weekend thing they did. I know you can still do a trial period for 7 days. So if you want to watch Wicked, still at the theater, but you also can watch it on Apple Plus.
Yeah, so that kind of stuff's crazy, right? Like how quickly but back in the day we had to wait, and this game came out long before I had a home version of Top Gun. So this is how you could kind of live that out, get in the arcade and just pump quarters into this thing and play the most heavily action game Sega maybe had even made up to that point. This thing was just pure action, nonstop, on rails, but it had a sense of freedom that, at least up to this point, not a lot of other games did.
It's funny because it's an on-rail shooter, but I got the same impression. I always forget this is an on-rail shooter because it is. You're just flying basically straight. You can go only so far to the right or the left, but it feels very open world for some reason. I don't know if it's because of the changing scenery that keeps happening through each stage. You don't feel like you're on rails, other than if you were flying in a plane. You probably kind of fly a pattern or a path, maybe. But it's so fast. And the thing that really sold it for me, and I had to go this route this week when I played, I was like, I could play the ports for like the Master System and the Genesis and it's all these other machines that end up getting Afterburner. But really the place where Afterburner lives for me is at the arcade because of that big giant yoke that was just it's just such a range of movement. You had to just really get in there and physically move that thing, and you would have you could throttle up and bring it back down, and that was so important. But what I did not understand, I don't want to get too deep into this part of it, but I don't know if I ever played Afterburner 1. I played Afterburner at the arcade as that was what the machine was labeled as. But I'm pretty sure I played Afterburner 2.
Oh,
because I think Afterburner 1 only existed for about 3 months before they made some revisions and sent out Afterburner 2, which would eventually get its own proper cabinet labeling and stuff. But I think they were just sticking them in to the Afterburner 1s. Because you didn't have, as far as I could tell,
no, there was no difference.
If you look for the ROM for the original, the only thing you're going to find is the Japanese version, and it does not have the throttle.
Yeah, no, you're right. The throttle, the putting it in the old cabinet made perfect sense back then. There was really no big change in how you controlled this game or what you did in the game. So really, it's just board. It's just board. That's it. You just put the board in.
Swaps, maybe?
Board swap.
Yeah,
no big deal. You might do that today with, just freaking flash the the firmware and you'd have a new game in there. But back then you had to put a whole new board in. And I think that's what they did as well. We saw that happen a lot with Namco games. So, we would have a version of like Pac-Man, but then we'd get in these Miss Pac-Man boards and we would put them in the Pac-Man cabinet. And I hated it because it didn't feel right. It felt like putting the wrong soul in the body. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And plus
it was
looking back is, what we like to think that we are pushing for preservation of these machines. You are literally destroying these machines because it seemed okay at the time. It's like, oh yeah, it just only makes financial sense to, yank out the innards of the old and put this new in here. But it's like, but you just destroyed a machine. You just destroyed the original machine and the memories of it.
Yeah, it sounds kind of dumb, but I think there's something to that. At least I felt it as a person that was seeing it happen in my own basement. But when I'd see it,
Father, why must we murder Pac-Man for Miss Pac-Man?
Yeah,
why?
I also saw it with I think all our Asteroid machines when we got Asteroids Deluxe. Those machines, we just board swapped those until we got the new cabinets in. This is part of the reason my dad was motivated to start his own manufacturing part of the business, making his own cabinets, because he that annoyed him. And so he started making these cabinets that were sort of universal. So whatever you put in them, you would change out the banner art and you would change out the sticks if they were different. And then any instructions and stuff. But then a lot of the cabinet was the same. That had a drawback, though, because I think the sides weren't interchangeable. So you end up with something very generic on the sides. But at least you knew that, that's a banner for Block and Chase, or that's a banner for Zor, or whatever the game it was. And that was his way of saying, we can do this better.
We can build it better
than the industry.
We can reassemble it.
That's a fun little side note. But the game's pretty good. You fly an F-14 Tomcat jet fighter. I think that's the exact same one in Top Gun, right? I think so.
Correct. Well, yeah.
Or the one that they mostly show in Top Gun is Tom Cruise flying around in that thing. And
that's it.
This thing was you in dogfights, and they're not traditional dogfights the way you might think for Ace Combat 7, which is a new game that I think owes a lot of inspiration to this series.
Oh. That is everything to Afterburner.
Exactly. Right? And that's Ace Combat, they made Ace Combat games a long time ago. Some I think were even 2D sprite based, but they were all inspired by this, and they've taken it much further. I think Sega's dropped the ball, if I'm honest, about letting the Afterburner IP just sit there and smolder. There's no point in this. They should have had
crashed F-14, right?
They should have had the wherewithal to say, like Namco did with Ace Combat, there's a potential here for open world missions and upgrading your jets and all the shit that basically Ace Combat did it, and they didn't. And it's a bummer because I think Sega could have some real fun with it, maybe made it a little more accessible. I think it's one of the titles, though, mentioned recently in their new stuff they're working on, the new Crazy Taxi,
right.
Afterburner, Jet Set Radio, and a couple others, whatever they are. So
there's something about Afterburner as it exists in the world of just simplicity. It makes you feel like a badass, while at the same time gently prodding more quarters from you.
Oh yeah.
It makes you get in there and you're like, holy I am controlling the shit out of this the F-14, because I'm able to do barrel rolls. I'm able to just jam it, and I'm destroying the crap out of the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the Vulcan gun, just firing that thing. Matter of fact, I always just held down the fire button because there's unlimited fire on the Vulcan gun, right?
Oh, just fire all day. Don't let up. Take the trigger and hold it.
Don't let up.
Yeah.
They figured this out in the ports and stuff. So lots of the ports just auto fire. You don't have to worry about that at all. It's just like constantly spraying out the front of the ship. And but the big deal is you have a limited number of missiles that you can fire. And fire, and you'll get all kind of voice prompts that will tell you locked on, fire, and you just destroy the enemy.
Sega loves that, by the way. Sega, like all the rally games, turn left, turn right, slow, go there, do this. I love it. And don't write me your email saying, don't send me an email saying that all rally games, including actual rally, have a guy sitting next to you telling you that. I know. I'm just saying that Sega really leans into it. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, just something about it just is just magical. And anybody can play, right? You can get a certain ways through, but it does start escalating in difficulty, especially like when you get to like, I don't know, stage 10, 11, especially when you start hitting towards the 23, which is the final level, and you get a nice ending screen that'll show you, yeah, you did good, and you just put some more coins in, you start again.
Yeah.
But I was learning things as I was playing this week that are just small things that don't seem like you're really controlling a lot, but suddenly I was like, oh, I am controlling a lot. If you fly, this is something I learned, and maybe you guys know better, but let's say you're flying along, get to a certain stage, like 8 or something, suddenly you have somebody who is now chasing you. So you got an enemy who's chasing you. Most enemies so far have been in front of you, but you have one chasing you, and there's a lock-on light if you're at the arcade that's separate from the actual screen, and it'll say you've been locked on. Mm-hmm. Inside the game, there's a little at the top right-hand corner, it'll let you know, because there's a little mini map will come up, and it'll show there's a little red person behind you. Mm-hmm. And so you have to avoid them while they're shooting at you.
And keep shooting shit in front of you. It's not like you get to relax.
Keep shooting shit in front of you.
It's hard.
Right. And so I found that if I go one direction, like I like to go left, I'll go left and I'll hit the afterburners. I'm kicking it, going as fast as I can. The opponent is also right behind me, same speed, and they're firing at me. And then if you just drop the throttle all the way back, it's like an air brake almost, just like in the movies. It'll just air brake and it'll stop, and the enemy will fly right past you. Then you hit the afterburner again. You launch a missile at them. Boom! You just killed him. Yep. I was like, holy shit! I've never performed any of those. I'm usually just doing barrel rolls to avoid oncoming missiles that are in front of me. I've never actually performed a maneuver before.
Well, and part of that is because now we can take our time and have save states and
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because I didn't do save states because what's the point? I'm at the arcade. I just kept dropping coins because it just continues on. Drop another coin.
No, you're right. That's what they want you to do, and you did it. Here's the thing I was going to say about this. It is essentially, so up to this point, you had lots of top-down Galaga perspective shooters, and some were set in wartime, like the 1942 series and things like that. Basically, forward-scrolling shmups, of various kinds. This is really just them saying, what if you were right behind the plane and you still had to do that stuff, except we'll give you some barrel rolls and some other moves that put you a little bit more in 3D space. But for the most part, you're playing like 1942 just behind the plane. And it's a more modern plane, obviously, but you're in a different era. But it's that game. That's that game.
Exactly. And Yu Suzuki was in a unique position that people at Sega were listening to him, and they were building a new board, the X board for Sega. And so they were working with what they called superscalar sprites where you're doing all of these fancy sprite things, scaling, rotating, doing things that we had never really seen up until this point, or at least not in this combination of things. And Afterburner really took advantage of all that because it was designed to. And it was just a showcase of how badass the X arcade board was for Sega. Mm-hmm. And even to this day, it is still super fast and impressive. We tend to slow things down in more modern times and make them more complex. And this is just the most basic of action, pixel scaling, suck me in. Sure, only like for 30 minutes maybe, but every moment is just adrenaline fueled. I just feel like I'm just being bathed in action.
Well, it is the kind of game that you don't want to. I can't play it for too long of a sitting, but hop in, hop out it's almost right. It's perfect. It's literally like, this is what people don't give enough credit to Sega for understanding the core purpose of an arcade and what that entertainment medium means, which is grab my attention hardcore for a little bit of time. My adrenaline pops, all my receptors are on. I'm like, man, this is awesome. I want to put more money in this thing. And they come through on the end of giving me a great time. So they give me the value I paid for. I never feel ripped off by one of this era's Sega arcade games. Sega Arcade, like having a moment for about 6-7 years there. And I think it's still true. Like, you go into an arcade now and you see a machine with Sega's name on it, old or new. They just, that's their bread was really buttered hard there.
You know what? Good. You know where on my socks right now? Sega.
You got Sega. I know your hat's a Sonic thing, but what do you tell me?
I got Sega socks on. I invest. So I bet, over time you just pick up little things here and there. So I got my Sega hat on this week. I just fully invested all Sega this week. If you want to call me a Sega fanboy, do it.
Do it.
But yeah, I would show you my socks, but I don't have that kind of range of motion. But trust me, I'm wearing Sega socks with some coins on it. I'm sorry, rings. I got some rings from Sonic.
Do you have you wearing Sonic underwear by chance?
I'm not wearing any underwear, but if I was wearing underwear, absolutely, it would be the Fast Blue Hedgehog right there, like a pair of underoos.
Not the stupid little fox. What's his name?
Of course. I put the fox on there too.
You put Tails on your junk? Knuckles. Knuckles makes sense because you're a dude and you can make a moose knuckle up front.
Plus it's Idris Elba, so I mean,
baby.
That's how I imagine my underoos with Knuckles would sound.
Indeed.
Would talk.
Indeed. So this is an amazing game. It's a hell of an original game. However, I think that 2 came along and supplanted it. I think 2 is a refined game. There's more movement. First of all, they give you a broader up, down, left, right of movement. The tutorial bit, which we're looking at here, is a lot more sensible to help players understand how this stuff works, how things are locking on when to fire.
This is how you hold the stick. Yeah. This is how you fire the button.
Yeah, look at that hand, man. Big old 16-bit hand floating around.
Big old meat hand right there. That's how you play it.
And if anything, the game got quicker. Just felt faster, just meatier experience while flying. Look at the speed at which which the land comes at you. Slightly better draw distance, I was reading. Not great. Still not, enormous, but enough to be an improvement over the first game. And it's also really hard. That's a very hard game.
Yeah.
So if you want to spend more quarters, play 2.
Yeah. The hardest part, because they kind of did some balancing stuff, difficulty balancing stuff. And I did appreciate that when you get about, I can't remember which exact stages it is, but it's all just a blur, which is what it's supposed to be. You get to some areas where it's like canyons, where you got to fly through canyons, so you got to slow it down. So you've been afterburning it like every chance you get, because there's no fuel meter. There's no, you don't have to, because you'll get fueled up between stages, get reloaded.
It's like,
stages.
It's more like a rest stage or something, right?
It's a rest for the gamer, not a rest for the machine.
No,
because there's no management of fuel. There's no management of firing the Vulcan gun. There is on the missiles. You only got so many missiles, but I never ran out.
No, in fact,
But,
I
you
was noticing. I noticed some players in one of the playthroughs I watched, they dump all their extra missiles between missions because they all get refilled for the next one.
Yeah,
and so it's just fun to dump them for no reason. Just let them all fall.
Yeah, they do not make you feel like you're hamstrung at all. They don't. They just go, here's every freaking thing you could ever freaking love and manage. And then the only things they really ask, they ask you to take a few breaks here and there, like in between stages as a player. And by the way, this guy's getting chased right now.
By a missile and a plane. It's just insane feeling to have that behind you.
The missiles just flying as fast. It's just great. It's so unnerving. But when you get to certain areas, you have to fly through canyons and stuff, or between radio towers, and you got to slow it down. You got to bring that acceleration all the way down as low as you can. And
you didn't mention this, but this is the game that introduced the that throttle for speed control. That wasn't in the first game.
Yeah.
First game was just
it was not.
Go. And you just were in full blast and you steered. Yeah. This one lets you go, okay, slow it up, go faster, slow it up. That was the key difference between those cabinets. And that part I don't remember. Like if they swapped out boards, they would also have to put in the accelerator stick. So maybe there was more to that than we think, but
right. There could have been. I didn't have, like I said, I don't think I've ever seen an Afterburner of one at the arcade. I've seen Afterburner cabinets that this said Afterburner, and I assume they were one, but then when you start playing it, one of the first things that happens is there's Afterburner 1 that pops up, and then it goes, and it gets shot up, and then it says Afterburner 2.
Yeah.
And that's the one I had all my experience in. Mostly it was a stand-up cabinet. There was one that was kind of like almost a mix of a stand-up cabinet. And then there was the sit-down cabinet, which you showed earlier. And then there was one that required an attendant. That was the one.
That's the hydraulic one, right? That's the one that moved.
Yeah.
That's the one that my dad drew and didn't get made. That's the one that pisses everybody off in our family.
But so in this one, you had an attendant. So I never played it. I do remember seeing it at Myrtle Beach, but you would, if you went to the left, the whole thing might just go. If you did the barrel roll, you may just like completely turn all the way over, or maybe just like rotate, however far, 45 or how many degrees it is. But man, it was so fun. Oh, they're about to show something cool, little nod here in the middle of the stages. Here comes the outrun car. Look at that. You see the
outrun car hanging out.
The little outrun car.
I don't think he should be on that road. I think that's a dangerous road to be on. The little outrun car.
Nod to the AM. Yeah, a little nod to Yu Suzuki's other amazing title. It got them all the credit that they needed to get left alone so they could do crazy.
Oh yeah, no, these guys were at this point they were royalty at the company, and they would go on. They would keep doing this. They still have all the Virtua series to do. They still have all those racing games, Daytona USA. Like AM2 is legendary.
That was the place to be.
Yeah, they're still doing stuff. He's still Yu Suzuki's still out there.
Oh yeah, Yu Suzuki's still awesome. Yeah, he's still out there. Well, I say he's awesome. He's awesome content creator. How about that?
Yeah, I'll put it that way. I didn't play Shenmue 3 from the Kickstarter and all that, but I am always interested in what he's doing next, and I guess some of these new things they're working on now are he's involved, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Real quick too, the hydraulic one was very expensive to maintain. I remember at the time through people that we knew and stuff, the reason that you would never pay less than 50 cents a play on that hydraulic machine was it was very expensive to maintain. Somebody had to always get out there and fix it.
There was the hydraulic machine. I think it just tilted side to side and forward and back, but there was one that was like an attendant, and it seems like that was like one of those special ones. I remember all the little big old giant Sony machines and stuff. They'd have an attendant, and it would do all kinds of crazy crap. I seem like those things were much more than 50 cents.
They were way more. I think you had to pay dollars more.
You got to pay a dude to stand there and to manage it and maintain it.
Yeah, for sure.
Expensive.
Just the simple hydraulic one though was breaking all the time. It was always an issue.
Yeah,
and it reminded me of the dark days of Dragon's Lair because those were always breaking. Those disc players, those laser disc players broke every 5 minutes.
Laser disc players, big old moving pieces. Ooh,
it was effed up.
Yep.
Chat room keeps bringing up G-LOC Air Battle, which was also Sega, and that one had a version of it that had full 360. I remember that. I remember being surprised that it wasn't another. Why they didn't just make another Afterburner? Why a whole new name and a whole new game?
Yeah, I think Right. And so I think this is when they moved on to the Y board instead of the X board that it had for the Afterburner. And, it had more effects. And I don't even know why I would have thought during the time that the Afterburner name itself would have had enough, cachet to be a no-brainer. Let's do that. So I don't know why they did that, but they crossed paths several times, G-LOC and Afterburner. As a matter of fact, if you ever played the Sega CD version of Afterburner 3, which a lot of people hate, and it's G-LOC 2. It's a continuation.
Basically G-LOC 2.
G-LOC.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is just a weird thing, but again, Sega known for weird decisions. I mean, they do that shit.
Right.
But this one was wild because it had it was still, if I remember this right, and someone at home tell me if I'm wrong, but I think G-LOC still used sprites. It used that new board Brian's talking about, so it was faster. So you had more opportunity for more frames of animation. You could create more sprites in between, when you turn, instead of having 2 sprites to show the animation of the turn, you would now have 10 or something. So it had this effect of feeling like polygonal. It wasn't, but it felt like it. G-LOC's impressive as hell if you've seen one of those big ones at a fair or an arcade or whatever.
Technology-wise, G-LOC surpasses Afterburner for sure. As far as the actual fun of it, I think they've added too many new mechanics, and there's a lot of switching between in cockpit and behind third person. Just didn't have the same magic that the original had.
I agree. It's like a step between. It was like it wasn't sure what it wanted to be.
Right. Technically impressive.
It's very impressive. Yeah. It almost feels like, again, we're at an awkward stage around now where people are trying to do 3D, pseudo 3D, actual 3D. How do we do it? How do we integrate it? What does it control like? What's too long for an animation compared to what like all that language to the player hasn't been established yet. And I felt like G-LOC and other titles at the time were trying to figure that out. And this one didn't quite do it. Like there's scenes like right now, this looks 2D as shit. You get out in the sky and you got scaling kind of mode 7 looking backgrounds. You got ships that look like they're low poly.
Things being rendered in the distance as you approach them instead of being just naturally there through fog or something.
It's really easy to nitpick, but the bottom line is it just felt like we were in an in-between stage. And I think we were, not just here, but at home and everywhere, really. It's just an
that's a terrible name.
G-LOC's a terrible name.
I get it. G-Force Lock, I get it, but come on. Afterburner. That's a cool name.
Yeah, Afterburner is the best. You could make a movie called Afterburner and people would go see it. Maybe they did.
This could be worse. You could name your game Sky Target, I suppose. That could.
Did you ever play I had an NES game. I have it here somewhere. I have a Top Gun NES game. It's not very good compared to Afterburner.
Yes, the Top Gun NES game. Actually, if you don't own a copy of Top Gun NES game, I don't know how you got away with it, because I think
everybody had one.
It didn't come with the system, but somehow or another it ended up in everybody's collection, whether you played it or not.
There's no way it's worth anything because there's too many made. There's so many.
Oh, there's just too many. Everywhere I go, there's a Top Gun NES part. The parts of this Afterburner were all over the place as well. But I got to say, the Master System version, it's
pretty good.
Not too bad.
It's pretty good.
I guess for considering this a Master System version, I thought it was.
I think the Genesis version is a very smooth experience. It just kind of sounds like ass, but a lot of games like that did.
Genesis ass.
Yeah. NES version I didn't play. This would have been pre.
I took a peek at it. It felt weird because the sprites were so small.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't a big fan, but maybe it's your favorite because you grew up playing it.
But just the Master System and Genesis were both in their own way so good at pushing sprites that they just, Sega made their games look good because that's what they did a lot. That's what they were good at. They were pushing sprites like wild men and women.
That's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
They wanted to rotate them sprites, push them. They want to go faster. More faster sprites is quickly.
Yeah, you want to rotate some sprites? Sega's got your number, baby.
Yeah, they own it, man.
What else came after that? We talked about G-LOC kind of being a spiritual successor. There was also Afterburner 3 for the Sega CD. Basically, G-LOC 2. I thought that game was not good. I tried to like it, Brian. I didn't like it.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Not after you play Afterburner. You can't play Afterburner and then play that and go. But it is fast. I'll give them that.
It's fast, but look at the ground. Like, look at the terrain. It's not even close. It's like you bought a Sega CD for like better than basic, and this is
I mean, it had to have Top Gun level music to really
Yeah,
pull me in.
and it really doesn't. Like, here's some of it. I'll play it.
Fire.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer
It's
game.
a big old fat bummer.
It is a fat bummer, especially on the tail end of all these other great games. You know, now in '95, if you were Sega, you were releasing a game called Sky Target, which sounds fake, but it's real. And Sky Target was in every way another iteration on the formula.
Sky Target once.
Yeah, Sky Target's great. They're on airplanes. You just order your vegetables and they show up. This is a game that went full 3D. This is all polygonal. And, we're talking like PS1, somewhere smushed between a PS1 and an N64 in terms of quality, I would say.
Yeah, which is about time appropriate.
Yeah, it's about time appropriate. It's pretty impressive. I've never played this in arcade, so I can't speak to it, but I played a little bit of it on my Steam Deck with emulation, and it was fine. It just made me want to go play either Basic 1 or 2 or go play Ace Combat 7. You know what I mean? Like, just like go all in on a simulation. It's fine, though. It's a good time.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Unless you have I'm going to say, unless you play with a HOTAS controller, flight stick,
makes a difference.
Throttle if you can with Afterburner, or get to the arcade if you can, because that's really the way to play Afterburner. I mean, I figured out what screws people up. Do I have mine here? My HOTAS is over there somewhere. But if you, I can't find my HOTAS. But if you're playing, I'm a HOTAS. Where's the HOTAS set?
Let's say you're playing on a thing. You know, a lot of people have to go switch the default for whether down brings the nose up or down. Yeah. So they got to change their is it the Y axis, whatever it is, or not X, Y. Here's why I think people get confused with that. I figured it out finally, because while I was playing this week, I kept going back and forth. I'm like, why does this feel weird? If I used a stick, it didn't feel weird. If I was in the cockpit, the controller didn't feel weird. But if I was out of the cockpit, it felt weird in various games.
Right.
Like, what is going on? It turns out it's this. If you use your thumb and you push forward, I expect to go down.
Down. Yeah,
and when I pull back, I expect nose up.
Right.
If I'm using a stick, it's the opposite. Because I'm holding it like this, not pushing down on it like this. It's how you're holding it. So if you got a stick,
you're pushing forward, right?
Play with the stick is what I'm saying. It's 100% better experience playing with a stick. Yeah. As much as I love my controllers, but for flight stuff, it's just better.
Oh, it's just so good.
Fight me on that, everybody.
Plus, you need that range, because it's real hard to. You got to have very small movements to control something like an airplane, right? So I mean, you need that larger throw and range, so you can get in between each little nudge, as opposed to a thumbstick, which is just like, if you move it just like that much with your thumb, just a little bit, suddenly you're nose diving, or vice versa. So yeah, with a stick, it gives you way more control, and I was just sucking it. When I first fired it this week, I had my standard old Xbox controller out, and I was playing, and I was just couldn't even make past stage 3.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, let's see what I got to do. So I got my HOTAS out, and suddenly I'm like stage 11, no problem.
Yeah.
And
look where these games have come now. So this is Ace Combat 7. It came out in 2019, so it's actually 6 years old now.
It's getting there.
It is the places we've gone with fighter games is crazy. And this is still not a simulation. Still very arcadey. Still very the story's ridiculous. I don't know if you've played this game. It's an amazing story.
That's fine.
It's so stupid. I mean, I don't mean it in a bad way. It's freaking anime.
Afterburner has zero story. They don't tell you shit. You just go, oh, I'm flying, and people are shooting at me. I should probably shoot back.
Yeah, you probably should shoot back. That's the story. In Ace Combat, you get an awesome anime story in a fake planet with a bunch of fake countries. It's amazing. And then somehow they're like just regular people hiding out in places that have full working jets. It's just stupid, but I love it. And I what I want Sega to do is take a page out of the Namco book and really give Afterburner some love. And I will play a modern Afterburner hard. I'm ready.
Oh yeah.
Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, what are we even waiting for? Who are you, Sega? Who do you think you are with your IP?
I mean, we just revisited Top Gun, Maverick. I mean, just that. Come on, use that momentum.
Yeah, use some momentum, jerks. Also, I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? I forgot. Oh, I don't want to miss this. Yu Suzuki. Okay, we talked a bunch about him. He's awesome. You mentioned this technology, but I think it's really important to mention this. He is the guy who designed Sega's Superscaler arcade system board, which made it possible to scale 16-bit graphics sprites in a smooth and convincing way. So when you're out there and you see shit flying past you really quick at high frame rates, you have him to thank for that.
Thank you, Suzuki.
Thank you, son. You and your Suzuki sidekick. Just kidding. I drove one of those for a while, by the way.
Right.
That was a poopy car.
I always wanted to go to Studio 128. Their little hideout. I bet it was so freaking cool.
Oh man, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I would love that.
Had all kinds of high dollar, cool luxury devices and equipment and vehicles.
Sign me up. Sign me up. I've been into it. Anyway, so there's that. There's your game. Go check it out if you have not played the Hard Target, the Afterburner games. I don't know why I said Hard Target. Play them now because they're a great time, and there's lots of ways to play them. You can if you hurry up, a lot of the stores still have Sega's classic stuff before they pull all that for whatever reason they're doing that. I still think they're going to launch a service, but we'll see. Anyway, you can play that way. You can also emulate, of course, and if you're lucky enough, you can find an old arcade in a nickel arcade somewhere and play that way. That's the best way to play, in my opinion.
And if you happen to pick up a Sega Mega Drive Mini 2, it does have Afterburner 2 on it.
Oh, did the first one have 1? Or
did not.
I thought it did.
No Afterburner on the original Sega.
So the only
Mega
Afterburner
Drive.
on a Mini is that second one. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got that, baby.
Kind of a shame. Also, if you're looking for modern stuff, like we said, Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown from 2019, Rogue Flight from 2024. I have both these games. And the other one,
have you played Rogue Flight?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I've got it.
It's great.
I haven't got it yet. I'm looking. Very positive reviews so far. Came out in October 24th, 2024, just a couple of months ago, and it looks pretty darn good.
They also have a what's the word I'm looking for? It has a demo. Thank you. So you can go try it out. 97%. There's another one called Project Wingman. Also very good.
Project Wingman.
A couple years old, but you can find it on sale. It's very good. It's basically Ace Combat like in almost every way, but I actually might think it's better than the current Ace Combats. Anyway, yeah, lots of options, lots of cool stuff out there. And if you want to shoot shit, good news. Good news. Lots of ways to do it. All right.
Good news.
All right. Well done, everybody. We're going to play a game of our own, and it is called Guess Our Game.
Destroy it.
And we will now attempt to guess one another's game. Okay. We brought audio files. Those audio files, I don't mean like people are way into audio. I mean like files that are made of audio. I don't think I had to explain that. Of our games.
I appreciate it.
These are old games, and we give each other options, try to get each other to guess. And I will also tell you the year and the platform, Brian, for mine. It is a Super Nintendo Entertainment System title.
Oh, a SNES.
The SNES. And it is from the year 1993. 93.
Oh, that's a good year.
Here is your sound, and then we'll get to the options. Okay, here's some sounds coming up.
Was it basketball?
Here, listen to this bit. Okay.
No, it sounds more like soccer.
Well, let's find out if you can figure it out. Here are your options. I'll tell you, it's a
billiards game, and we talked a lot about billiards this past week on Unforgiven, and their billiards is not like this.
No, not like this at all. It turns out. So, Brian, I want you to guess from these options. A, corner pocket. B, rack 'em up.
Rack 'em up.
C, side pocket. Or D, Minnesota Fats presents Pool Champions 1993. Remember that guy? He was a big time.
I do remember Minnesota Fats. I do not remember him ever making an arcade game in 1993 or any other time for that matter.
They were never arcade games. They were SNES. That's where these were.
I'm sorry, SNES. I did say arcade.
Yeah.
Had arcade on the mind today. So A, corner pocket. B, rack 'em up. C, side pocket. Or D, Minnesota Fats presents Pool Champions 1993. Side Pocket, by the way, is what happens when you cheat on your Hot Pocket.
Hey, you got a little side pocket going?
Yeah, I got a little side pocket going on here. It's not nearly as prone to burn my mouth. Right. I'm gonna go with C, my side pocket. Why not?
Let's find out if it's side pocket. Is it side pocket? It is side pocket. Nicely done.
Oh, look at that.
Yep.
C works.
Yeah, corner pocket. I thought might confuse you. Rack 'em Up and Minnesota Fats presents Pool Champions 93 are all fake. I made those up.
Nice. I love Minnesota Fats presents Pool Champions 1993. That needs to be a fan game.
It sounds right.
I don't know why that doesn't exist.
Doesn't it sound right?
I would love it.
It sounds like it. Like all
right.
those golf games back then, they all had names like this.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think this
guys, but it kind of made me laugh because at first I was like, yeah, that sounds right. And I was like, wait a minute, ain't nobody jonesing for no Minnesota Fats present. I wasn't nothing in 93. But for a minute, I was all in.
Yeah.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah. Whatever happened to him? Hold on. Minnesota Fats.
I'm assuming he died from a heart attack. Is that not what you do when your name is Minnesota Fats?
His real name was Rudolph Wanderone. Was his real name. He was pretty fat. He was born in 1913 and he died in 96 at age 82. He lived a long time.
Wow. He was actually alive when the potential of this fake game happened. Good job, Scott.
Says later life. Let's see. Hall of Fame. Zubba Zubba. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Etta James, the singer, claims that she's her dad and that he would never admit it.
What?
Yeah.
That is great. I love Etta James. That's a great little historical piece there. I love that.
He is, he doesn't have people are kind of mad at him here. It seems like he's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
But it does say here that, how does it say he died? It doesn't get into his death. Just says he died.
Hit in the head with a pool ball.
Let's see. Personal character. Fats was notorious for his spontaneous wit. You judge a king by the size of his wallet and his palace. You can leave the crown in the toilet, unquote. I don't know what that means. I guess it means who cares about the appearance? It's all about the money.
It's fun that a little time really heals all, because I think all those things are hilarious.
I do too.
Whereas other people during the time hated him. But yeah, hilarious.
It's kind of fun to see. All right, let's move on to yours, Brian. Tell me my platform, my year, all that stuff.
Well, I decided to stay at the arcade in 1992.
Ooh, 92, eh? All right.
92, eh?
Let's give it a shot and see what we got. All right, tell me, man, this one's hard. Tell me what I got here.
Yeah.
What are my options?
All right, we got A, Guardians of the Hood.
Yeah.
B, Knights of the Round. C, Arabian Fight. Or D, Minnesota Fats presents the fight game. No, asterisks.
Wow. Guardians of the Hood. It's got a apostrophe.
These are all real fight games for the arcade.
Okay. So that apostrophe before the hood is right? So like neighborhood.
Yes.
Okay.
These are all real titles of themed fight games. Apparently we're at a weird time. I would like to approach what was going on in 1992, that we had these odd fight games that took place in places like Guardians of the Hood, Knights of the Round, Arabian Fight, and asterisks.
Okay. So I'll be honest, it sounds like something Asterix would do, but that wasn't an arcade game, I don't think. Was that an arcade game?
These are all real arcade games from 1992.
Damn. All right, I'm going to say C, Arabian Fight. I don't know why, I'm just saying it. I have nothing to say.
Arabian Fight is wrong.
Damn it. What is it?
The answer is B, Knights of the Round.
Knights of the Round. Hold on, I got to look it up.
Knights of the Round. Hey, you ever want to play as, you want to get the knights together and go beat some people up? Let's do it. Knights of the Round.
Okay, so it was like here it is. 1992 beat 'em up. Oh, side-scrolling beat 'em up. There it is.
Side-scrolling beat 'em up.
All these were
side-scrolling beat 'em ups.
I think I even played this game.
Yeah. What was going on at the arcade with side-scrolling beat-em-ups?
I don't know, man. People are into them.
92.
Remember, like, Final Fight and all that? That was a big thing.
Yeah.
It's about 92, 91. Look at that. Look at the swords on these guys. Look at these swords.
Yeah.
Love it.
I literally looked up arcade 92. I forget exactly the other part, but it was something like Fighter or something like that. And these were the ones that came up. There was only like 2 others, but I was like, what a weird theme time.
It was a weird theme time. Yeah. We just watched. It's funny because today, did you pick 92 because our Film Sack movie was from 92 today? Is that why?
I think that's why.
Oh.
I was thinking about 92 when I did it. Yeah.
All right.
I was doing both my notes.
Derek in the chat says you likely have Knights of the Round and Arabian Fight on your Ambernicks. I'll check. I don't know. I'm going to have one right here. Should I check? Where is it?
Went and got it.
Where'd I put it?
Where'd I put that at now? Where'd I put it at?
Too much shiz. Hold on. There it is. Let's just launch it. Let's just this will be a fun experiment. Let's try it. Let's see what we get. There's the power button. Told you about the cool 3D printed holder thing.
Yeah, the thing Ibit gave you. That is so awesome. How's my 3D print coming along?
It feels really good. Yeah, let's take a look at your. What are you printing again? Another container, a bowl,
another
or whatever.
Container. Yeah, we talked about this pre-show. This kind of stuff you get if you're a patron supporter. But yeah, I 3D printed this little bowl just because I needed some place to put some Legos while I assembled them.
All right, arcade. Here we go. Arcade Neo. Let's take a look.
Neo.
What's it called again? Sorry.
Knights of the Round.
Knights of the Round
is the one. Or Guardians of the Hood.
All right, let me get to the ends here. Knights of the Round. Whoops.
Knights of the Round.
Okay, so I see. That's a Load Runner. No, I don't have Knights of the Round. What was the other one? Arabian Fight?
Arabian Fight. And Guardians of the Hood.
Arabian. I don't have that either.
Arabian. Wow. How about Guardians of the Hood? You got to have that, right?
I'll take a look here and let's get to the G's. A, B, C, D, E. There it is. Guardians. Nope. I have something called Guardians Denjei Meiku 2 and then Growl ahead of that and Gun and Frontier after that. I got nothing. None of those. I don't remember. I think this particular batch of Perfectly Legal extracted from my own arcade machine's ROMs came from you.
Right.
I think those are the group you gave me. They're not in here, but they're perfectly legal.
I mean, we have 92. If you look up 1992 arcade beat 'em ups, you'll get things like Guardian of the Hood, Undercover Cops, X-Men, which we kind of knew of, Super Double Dragon, of course, Knights of the Round, Golden Axe, which you've looked at before, Mutation Nation, Asterix, which is that cartoon like you mentioned, Streets of Rage 2, Big Fight in the Atlantic. Big Trouble. Okay, Big Fight, Big Trouble in the Atlantic Ocean, and Arabian Fight. What a weird year 1992 was for beat 'em ups.
Very weird year
going on there.
I agree with you. How come this won't let me out?
Some of the best stuff ever, and then some really weird shit. Mutation Nation.
Yeah, Mutation Nation. What's your station?
What's your station?
Yeah. Anyway, I'll have to try to find those because I am not familiar with them. But yeah, beat 'em ups, they were all the rage.
Yeah.
You know?
All the Streets of Rage.
All the Rage Against the Machine, Pocket Full of Shells, Rally Around the Family, all that stuff.
Rally Around the Family, man.
Welcome to Retro to a new game. We like to welcome the following game to Retro. That is Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. That's right, January 10th, 2025. Just 2 days ago. 20 years ago. Mercenaries happened, and it was an adventure shooter action adventure thing by Pandemic, released by LucasArts for the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox original. Boom. Yeah. No GameCube. Sorry, no GameCube.
Sorry, GameCube. Maybe next time.
Yeah. Pandemic would go on to make some pretty great stuff, though. They are known for... Actually, I think they just got dissolved.
Their logo. The logo's cool.
I think they just got either sold or closed down or something happened. Let's see.
I remember Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. I actually liked it pretty good. I think I had it on the Xbox.
Oh, right. 2009, they're done, dissolved out of there.
Yeah. Dissolved like a candy under my tongue.
Yep. Let's see. BioWare and them were, acquired by Elevation Partners and then sold to Electronic Arts together. No one ever thinks about that. They think just EA bought BioWare. It's not how it worked. Right. Anyway, they did Star Wars Battlefront, Full Spectrum Warrior, Dark Reign 2, Destroy All Humans, Mercenaries, and The Saboteur.
One of the important things about this, though, is it was early on in the Havoc game engine, which would go on for quite some time. I think people are still using it now.
Oh, I know the first thing I played from them, Battlezone 2 Combat Commander. Do you remember that? 99, I think.
Got a clip of that. Maybe I can see something.
Does this cover look familiar to you? It does to me. I know I played this.
Yeah. That does look familiar. Absolutely. Yes.
Let's see. Yeah, it was like it was a PC game. It was like a I can't remember how that all went. I remember thinking it was pretty cool at the time. Seems like it reviewed pretty average though. Cool. Yeah. Well, anyway. That's a fun little note. Welcome to.
The point is this:
yeah.
Mercenaries, Playground Destruction, coming for you. Won't be long now.
That's right. 20 years, baby. Let's get to some listener feedback. We got a bunch of it.
Welcome to the treasure room.
And by a bunch, I mean 2 texts today. At this number, 801-471-0462, and it says this: "Hello, gentlemen." This is someone named Jabe, I believe, or Jobby.
Being called Jobby. I like that, but I think it is Jabe. I think you're right.
My mom used to say, have I told you this before?
Gentlemen.
She would say, if you had to poop, you had to make a jobby, she'd say.
Make a jobby.
Yeah. So she'd say, "Oh, you okay? You need to make a jobby?" Instead of saying, "Oh, you need to poop," or whatever, she'd ask if you had to make a jobby.
Right. You need to take a poop.
Yeah. Like, no, Mom, it's a jobby. Get it right.
Jobby. Anyway, I gotta go make with the jobbies.
I gotta make with the jobbies. Jabe Jabe or whatever. I'm sorry, I'm ruining his name. Says, "Hello, gentlemen. Have you played the Baton Kaitos games or Baton Kaitos? I think they said." Says they were originally released on GameCube. There are only 2 games: 1, Eternal Wings and the Lost Ocean, and 2, Origins. I ask because within the last year or so, they were remastered and released on Switch. Even more recently, they became available on Steam. They are turn-based JRPG games, and I think that you would really enjoy them. The stories are excellent, and if you are unspoiled, I highly recommend you give these games a try to experience them. If you have already played these, I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. Thank you for your incredibly entertaining show you put out each week. I wish you a wonderful 2025, says Jabe.
Jobby.
How do you say it?
These look freaking fantastic. Have you seen the video?
I don't know what these are. I've never heard of them.
I don't think I've ever heard of them either. This looks totally foreign to me, but I am
literally right. Japanese games, I assume.
Looks like Japanese games. We've talked about in the past. I was not a JRPG player growing up, and so I'm getting to discover all of those games now. And there are so many very impressive ones. Oh, I love my GameCube.
So these
my favorite consoles of all time.
These using almost looks like cards. This looks ahead of its time a little bit.
Yeah, I'm down with it.
You know what? I'm gonna check these out. And these are on.
You know what, Jobby? I'm gonna check these out.
Yeah. Hey, Jobby.
Jabe.
Mom, I met a Jobby today. She'll say, and she won't know what to think of that. Oh, this looks kind of awesome.
Yeah.
And look at him, the way you're using these cards. Like, okay, I'm going to use the knife. I'm going to use the potion.
Yeah. I think this
looks great. And these are on Steam.
That was great. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go see. What are they on Steam? Let's look at the price here. Eternal Wings. We'll try that.
Okay. Come on a PlayStation 2, or is that? Must be some other ones they did.
Hear my loud keyboard.
I hear it. I love it.
Okay. 1 and 2 come together. Reviewing pretty well, and it's $14.99 and available now on Steam as of June of this year. So that's cool.
HD remaster.
You know what? I'm gonna check these out. These must have been $14.99 for the combo for the 2, or the. I guess it's.
I must not be looking at the right thing. I'm seeing.
I'm sorry. $49.99. How did I get 14?
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, dang, I need whatever sale you're on.
Woo. Boy, slightly less. That price is a little high, but for old games. But I get,
it's remaster just came out,
and it's 2 in 1. You can't poo-poo that. You know what?
How much I would pay for such a game from eBay for an original GameCube. Let's find out.
I kind of want to. I just want to check these out. Guess I could emulate it too.
Yeah.
You know what? I might grab this. This looks rad. I love these mechanics. These choose from these cards for your abilities while you're doing the turn-based fighting. Right. That's so much fun. I mean, it's basically a card battler before they were any. All right. That looks neat. That looks really cool. I'll have to check it out. Also, it looks nice.
I'm seeing one in a case. Looks like it works. Oh, that's the European version for $25 on eBay for the GameCube.
You're a peon.
Maybe.
You know, I wonder if it ever came out here. Is it U.S.? Was it European and Japanese only? Maybe we never got it.
Don't know.
All right. I'll
Possibilities.
have to look into it. Excellent. Well, thank you for the recommendation. That's fantastic. We got also one from Enter Panda, who says,
hey,
I've been a listener of all the Play Retro episodes all the way back. I don't know why, and I didn't plan to do it, but it's going great, and I'm up to Jet Set Radio from last July. Ooh. So he's catching up. He's not even current yet.
Yeah, well, he's going backwards, according to...
Oh, I see. He's working backwards. Yeah. He says, I don't know why I didn't see it as backwards, but yeah, I see what you mean now. He says, just wanted to say that I love your friendship with Dunaway so much. It's honestly inspiring to see two dudes bond over culture the way that you two do, and to have the good taste to share to the world. Thanks for going on 20 years of entertaining me to no end. Happy New Year, Scott and Brian and Randy and Nicole and Bobby, etc., etc. LOL, says Enter Panda. That's really nice, dude. What a nice thing to say.
Awesome. Well, I love Enter Panda anyway, but now it's a little bit more.
Yeah. And Brian and I do get along, and we always have. There's a reason why 20 years later we're still making shit. So, how old were you in 2004, Brian? Do you remember?
Jesus, how was it? How many years? 20-something years ago. So 20. Is that right?
29, right? 29, 28,
30,
31.
Oh my
30,
God,
30.
Let's see. What year did you say?
2004.
2004. All right.
How old were you?
2004. Let's see. I was 32.
Damn, dude.
Got tired of trying to do that math in my head while doing a podcast, so I just did the math on my calculator.
I was 34, 35, something like that. And
right.
And I can't believe we've been doing this together for that long. Think of that.
Crazy.
Think of that, Brian. Think of that. That's crazy.
Man, we are so lucky. How many people get to do something that they love for this long?
I know.
And hanging out.
It's crazy.
We like.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's all lots of iterations and stuff, but he's my longest collaborator. I can't think of anyone else I've worked with longer. Yep.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Let me think for a second. Is there anyone longer? No. Nope.
No, other than your wife. No other collaborator.
Other than my wife and my children, there is no longer collaboration effort than me and Dunaway.
Yeah. And you outlasted my first marriage, so good job.
Yeah, we did it. My son was 4 when we started doing stuff. And he's 24 now. That's
about right, yeah.
24. Yeah.
Crazy.
Put that in your chicken and melt it. You know?
Ooh, that sounds good.
Anyway,
cheese in the chicken.
It's a rare thing in this world today, so I hope everybody finds somebody like that to work with. It's pretty great. If you want to send us your text and your feedback,
Just your female.
Send us your female if you guys can.
Just like that, now we are the longest term relationship. Kim's out.
That's right. Forget it, Kim. Sorry. PlayRetroShow@gmail.com or this same phone number I've been reading from today, 801-471-0462. That's where you can send texts and or voicemails. We'll take either one. Happy to do it. Our next discussion and or game, or really it's the same thing, is XCOM, UFO Defense, 1994. The hard one.
The hard one.
It's very hard. It's
hard. Very difficult.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm up for a challenge.
Yep. We're on the PC, the Amiga, the PlayStation originally had a version. DOS, of course. Microprose made it or published it. And it's a huge legacy because XCOM is a big bad boy now. People love the XCOMs. It was very different back then. And we're going to talk about where it started and maybe what we gleaned from it and what got carried forward and why it was so effing hard.
And why it's got a 10 out of 10 on Steam and 4.8 out of 5 on Good Old Games.
Oh, it's one of the greatest things ever made. You should play that effing game right now.
It's $5.99 on Good Old Games and part of the Good Old Games Preservation Program. Why not do it that way?
Yeah, why not? There's no DRM on that. You know, you just get in there.
And it's for the DOS box.
That's right.
If you need help, let me know. I'll help you.
Brian will help you. He knows DOS box stuff. He's into it.
I know DOS box.
I'll probably just gog it. Pull it down.
That's the way to do it.
Make it easy.
Don't work too hard.
There's some mods too to go full for your probably 4K, but definitely widescreen stuff if you want to.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're definitely going to be taking a look at that. So come back next week, PC heads. Let's talk about some 90s PC games. It's time. And while I'm at it, I want to thank a brand new patron, Thomas Nell Is it Nell? There's 3 L's in this, so I think it's just Nell.
Thomas Nell. Why does that sound like a character from Little House on the Prairie?
Oh, yeah, Thomas Nell's coming around.
Neil.
Neil?
Yeah, I like it.
Is that an I? Hold on. No, that's 3 L's in this guy's name, which is great.
This is the episode where we determined that Scott probably needs new glasses.
I may need new eyes, really. No, but that's definitely 3 L's. I don't know. I've never seen a name with 3 L's before. Very weird.
Hey, why not?
Why not?
Did you elongate the very end of that? Nell.
Something like that. But as a result, he gets no commercials or ads. He gets pre-show content every week. He gets other monthly benefits, and he's a part of the broader patreon.com/playretro family. So thanks for being here, man. For the rest of you, if you're just looking for some general links, ways to contact us, all the other fun stuff, frogpants.com/playretro, as well as retrogib.com, where you can find retro achievements information, our Unreal Tournament servers, fun stuff over there all the time. If you are interested in any of that, that's also linked at frogpants.com/playretro. So use it and use it wisely. Brian, anything else?
Lose it.
Anything else you would like to say before we go?
What a fun day we've had on a Sunday. Not always. Sometimes we do it on Fridays, but most of the time on Fridays, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, usually Fridays. Sorry about the weirdness. This last week was my thing. I had a million conflicting things. Oh, and if you're interested in what I was doing and why this all got pushed, I had to do an interview. I didn't have to, but I did an interview with Jason Schreier of Bloomberg News. Used to be at Kotaku, big time name in news journalism around gaming.
Right.
And wrote the recent book about Blizzard Entertainment called Play Nice. If you know who I'm talking about, then you already know you're going to want to hear this interview. It was fantastic. He was great. And unfortunately, I pushed this show, but it's up there. It's available now. Frogpants.com. Go get it. Yeah, he's awesome. Anyway, and it turns out he's not nearly as intimidating as everybody thinks he is. He's actually pretty easygoing. So go check that out. That's available now. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. I would like you all to go play something retro, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, looks like someone just got their ears caught in the audio cookie jar at frogpants.com.